what is with this mystery of the flow of feeling like sometimes we're living in alignment, we're on our high flying discs, we're good, we're golden, everything is joyful and bright. And the contrast that we experience of times when we are feeling small, feeling limited, feeling triggered, or as Denicia Hilton Harper likes to say, tickled, feeling tickled. And our stuff, our baggage comes up to the surface, right? Now, depending on your perspective, a spiritual perspective on this would orient us towards our baggage being elicited in a way that treats that like an invitation. So here we are, being invited by life, by our experience, to be made new and be made whole through our relationship with what it is we identify with, our past, our self-limiting beliefs. But no matter how much work we've done, it doesn't stop. You will continue to be human for the duration of your time on this planet. There is no enlightenment. I often point to the story in the Chuang-Tzu where the student goes to the master and says, "Master, I've been at the monastery here for 7 years. When will I be enlightened?" And Chuang-Tzu gets this grin on his face, and at that moment, for no reason whatsoever, a book falls from the shelf above the student's head and hits the student on the top of the head, and the student achieves enlightenment. The purpose is to point out the fact that enlightenment is something which can come out of nowhere, can be fleeting, right? You know it when you feel it. You know those flows, that deep flow state. You know when faith and trust and alignment are the guiding principles in your awareness of being. You know when it's your soul speaking and not your conscious mind. You also know when it's the opposite, when it's Trigger Town, when you're in Trigger Town, you know? There's something deeper. There's a way of transcending even this dichotomous dance that we do with the baggage that we've accumulated, the things that we've identified mistakenly with in this life through this course of being here and being human. And when we are in the flow of identifying with that which we actually are, right? It's not an either-or proposition. It's not a destination. It is a journey. And so, is it possible that there's some level of faith, that there's some level of trust in allowing for you and for your relationship to your life that would allow you to surrender to those moments of pain, of suffering, of disidentification with your true self, when you're triggered, when you're feeling upset or small, angry, depressed, you name it. When you feel like a boundary has been crossed for you? Is it possible for there to be a way of relating to the grand story, that's being told here, not just of the grand story of your life, but of life itself, of the story that's being told for all of us and through all of us. Is that possible? Is it possible that in your moments of despair, you can touch down on that thing and remember? You can remember the truth, even a little sliver of it. A sliver enough, because that's enough, a sliver. To do the next thing that feels best to you. Rather than wallowing, rather than allowing the conscious mind to spin its wheels in this friction, this gritty, grimy process, that you can grease those wheels and orient yourself back to the truth, even a sliver. A sliver enough to remember that you're not the one in control here. And often if we listen and we have some awareness of self-care and those kinds of things, we know what to do in those moments. We know what to do in those moments. It's another part of us that wants to push it, that wants to believe that this state has any bearing on anything, that this state of despair or anger or depression has any reality to it whatsoever. It doesn't. And what's interesting about at least the worldview that I posit in these videos and in my brand and through my lifestyle is it's not so much that the emptiness, you can look at Buddhist traditions, you can look at Vipassana and other kinds of non-dualistic traditions, which there's a kind of emptiness. There's an emptiness behind all of this. I think, at least, I feel, and what's funny is I can hear myself screaming. It's like I'm playing small just by saying that. I know that behind all of the seeming struggle and the contrast and the dichotomy that we experience through life, just as it's said in all these traditions, that unity is the guiding principle here. It's one thing. One thing is happening. There's one story being told. Just one. That is the foundational principle. That's what's actually going on. It's not emptiness, right? If everything sprang from that emptiness, sure. The emptiness is one thing too. And the inherent unity of everything in this world at some level of scale and perception and awareness, at some level of acknowledgement of the unity of the things in this world, that unity is actually a signature. It's a signature. It's God's fingerprint. It's God's handiwork. It's his signature on this holographic, fractal, recursive hologram of dreaming that we find ourselves in. So the gist of this is to ask ourselves if it's possible to find a level of faith, a level of flow, a level of relationality with life that allows us to listen to that still small voice, even in our periods of strife and struggle. And asking ourselves to what extent that has to do with our acceptance of the struggle itself as part of being here. You're not doing anything wrong when you're triggered. You can do no wrong. You can do no wrong. Amen. I'm going to leave it at that. My name is Connor Keys. To learn more about me and my coaching, you can go to connorkeys.com. To learn more about the free community coaching group that Laura Rose Gage and I do every Wednesday, go to livingintheheart.org. livingintheheart.org. We would love to see you there. It's a free community. You can come and join us and talk with us. Like, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell. You can also find me on social media at Connor Keys. And I look forward to talking to you next time. Much love.